Opened in 1998, the Madejski Stadium has been home to Reading Football Club for over 25 years. The ground has seen a lot of ups since the Royals left Elm Park, but at the same time has seen some massive downs too. The likes of Alan Pardew, Brian McDermott and Steve Coppell have all made some fantastic memories over the years, with Brendan Rodgers, Paul Clement and Paul Ince all creating some forgettable memories. Through these series of videos, we'll look back at some of the most memorable moments at the Madstad, for good and unfortunately for worse too. Join me as we look at some Madejski memories. Our first steps down memory lane take us back to the 3rd of April 2004 and the visit of West Ham United. This story has more layers to it though, and will begin in September 2003 when Reading manager at the time Alan Pardew handed in his resignation due to interest in the position of manager at West Ham. The resignation came with anger from Reading and the fans, as Pardew just a few days earlier at a fans forum had told loyal Royals that he planned to be at the club for a very long time. October the 20th saw Pardew officially announced as the West Ham manager, and with the two teams already playing earlier in the season, the 3rd of April was set to be the first time Pardew would reintroduce himself at the Madejski. 11 days prior to Pardew's appointment at the Hammers, Reading appointed their own new manager. Brighton's Steve Coppell was given the job and would go on to be one of Reading's most successful managers in their history. Both teams were coming into this fixture with a win. Reading defeated Coventry away, whereas Gillingham were beat by West Ham at the Boleyn Ground. Much of the media attention in the build-up to this fixture was on Pardew's return to Reading. After such a controversial exit, it was never going to be a warm welcome back. Still known to this day as Judas, Reading was set to make it a difficult return, with the match being picked for TV by Sky Sports, adding a potential national embarrassment for Pardew on the cards. The matchday programme featured Dave Kitson on the front, which would go on to be quite ironic after the events of the match. Pre-match odds, according to readingbet.co.uk, saw Reading as the slight favourites for the fixture, sitting at 7-5. West Ham was slightly behind that at 8-5, despite being 5 places ahead of the Royals pre-game. As the two sides came out, the two managers came out as well. Pardew was greeted with boos around the stadium and banners such as Pardew Who and Judas were shown on TV. The first chance went to West Ham after some good work by Matthew Errington on the left-hand side saw him be fouled by Steve Sidwell. The resulting free kick saw the ball laid off to Marlon Harewood, who took a strike from distance, but Jamie Ashdown was equal to the strike and palmed it to the side of his goal. It was Reading's turn next to have an opportunity, and it came when Graham Murty struck the ball from about 25 yards out. Stephen Bywater couldn't hold on to the shot and the rebound came out to Dave Kitson. Kitts then had his follow-up well saved by Bywater, who saved the chance with his legs. 28 minutes into the fixture and a bizarre substitution occurred. Despite being seen as one of the best players in the First Division, Marlon Harewood was substituted off for Adam Nolan in what can be only described as a desperate tactical change. Harewood was confused and had no idea why he was being taken off, and it didn't get much better for West Ham after that. A fantastic ball through by Graham Murty passed by all of the West Ham defenders. Dave Kitson showed brilliant judgment and decision making though, as he followed the ball through and managed to calmly poke it past Bywater in the West Ham goal to put the Royals 1-0 up. The goal was Dave Kitson's first at the Madejski and his second overall for the club. The second half started off fiery. After a strong challenge by Thomas Repka, an incident occurred with Steve Sidwell. Repka decided to push the English midfielder as he tried to quickly get the ball. This sparked a classic football handbags, with Repka, Lloyd Owusu and Sidwell all being involved. The resulting free kick led to something special though. A James Harper cross was missed by all West Ham defenders, and who was there yet again but Dave Kitson. He thunderously struck the ball into the top right corner of the goal and ran away in celebration, doubling Reading's advantage and his tally for the day. West Ham would go on to have one more chance of their own. A Bobby Zamora header went wide of the target and in all summed up West Ham's futile performance in Pardew's big return. When the full-time whistle blew, Pardew was quick to run down the tunnel, a shake of his successor's hand, and he was off as more flags were shown, with Pardew and McGee, traitors, now on display. In his post-match comments, Alan Pardew was very bitter and honest at the same time. mentioning that it was a big day for Reading and that the players were all hyped up. He was also full of praise for the performance put on by Reading, something I'm sure he wished his team was even close to. It was revealed though that Reading were up for it after the comments made by Pardew pre-match, which Graham Murty revealed in his post-match interview.
Use the psychology though of what Alan Pardew said about Reading though. I believe there's some interesting notes on your changing room wall.
There are, it hurt a little bit if we're honest. They said we've got an easy running starting with Reading and West Ham are now better than the team we took to the playoffs last year. Fair enough, that's what he thinks. We might have just proved him wrong there.
And that was it then. Reading had defeated West Ham by 2-0 and showed Alan Pardew that maybe he'd made the wrong move by going to the East End, and perhaps he would have been better off staying with the Royals. The season ended with Reading missing out on the playoff places by just 3 points. West Ham on the other hand did finish inside the playoff places, but narrowly lost out in the final to Crystal Palace. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you everybody for watching, and join me next time as we look back at some more Madejski memories.